Hello and welcome to the Mo WIFF 3 Up, 3 Down podcast. I'm your host, Cam Smith, and I'm joined tonight again by Rory Rank. Rory, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, man. Coming off an awesome weekend of wiffle ball. Love it.
Yeah, it was a great weekend indeed. We had the Midwest Classic, which we'll talk about later. We are going to start off tonight by talking about our playoffs so far that has led up to this point, and then we will going to roll right into our playoff matchups tonight. We have uh, game three from our Melonheads Thunderbird series, and
Yep.
game two of the Archers and Mojo series, and a potential game three there as well. And then we're going to get into our big portion of this podcast tonight, the Midwest Classic, the tournament that we hosted over the past weekend. Rory, are you ready to just roll right on into it?
Let's do it, man. We got a lot to talk about. I'm looking forward to it. A lot to break down and a lot of wiffle ball left to be played.
Absolutely. Here we go. First up, we have our playoffs so far. And Rory, let's start with the first matchup that we had. It was in the brutal heat. It was the two-time defending champion Bombers versus the Melonheads, and I will be the first to say, it didn't go our way. Hats off to the Melonheads, a two-game sweep of the defending champions. Did you see that coming at all?
I didn't, and I didn't see it coming mainly because I was in California when it was happening on a family vacation. So I was surprised to see that it only went two games. I thought I'd come back and watch a game three. But yeah, I mean, my guess, and it turned out to be correct, was that old playoff Jimmy's ugly head for you guys from your perspective reared its ugly head, I should say, and that turns out to be pretty much what happened. But yeah, the Melonheads, they came out and you pitched a good game. It looked like, and it just kind of got you got that dreaded 1-0 loss, and man, it just kind of went downhill from there. But yeah, the Melonheads came to play once again, so hats off to them.
Yeah, I mean, it was that first game was tough. I mean, going in, you knew it was going to be a battle between me and Caleb, and I mean, he pitched a hell of a game. Ended up getting the Player of the Series award. Uh, and I was talking to Cole, and he kind of said it best: is over the past 2 years, we kept saying somebody has to beat me, and
Yeah,
for him to be the guy to do it and be on the mound, that said a big factor to everybody else. Um, but my hat goes off to Jimmy Stock, man. Playoff Jimmy. Uh, he's the guy. He did it, and
he's the man.
he got that hit off me that that big key hit that no one really has been able to do in the playoffs. I mean, it's happened, but it's never been like the deciding blow. And this one finally was caught up to me. Um, I had you know, I don't think it was a secret that I had a lot of arm troubles all year
Yeah,
long. But that's not even an excuse because my arm felt great in that game. I think the only difference is, maybe I wasn't necessarily feeling the location of certain pitches that I'm used to just from not pitching all year. But still, when I'm throwing that hard and feeling that good, that shouldn't be a problem. And Jimmy just caught one, ran it right into the wall, and that was all that game took. Big hit. And what really sucked
yeah,
was, I mean, I think it was the half inning before that was, uh, we had a really
yes,
good chance. Tommy had a big hit off Caleb, and then I had a hit right after that, and I was like,
yep,
man, all right, we're starting to feel it. And then that momentum just shifted right back after
yes,
we didn't score there, and then they came out and score. So it was a big shift in momentum. That was probably the key right there. But
yeah,
uh, we tried to play a little strategy in game two by sitting Justin Hall in that first game, letting him stay out of the heat, and unfortunately, it worked in the first inning. First inning went really great for us, and then by that second inning, he was beat by the heat, and couldn't throw strikes. And Sam got a home run out the 55 and under pitch, and then we tried to bring in Nick, and man, Nick, hats off to Nick just for gutting that out. I mean, he was dying out there, and you know, the game got away from us here in game two. Not what we wanted. We still thought
yeah.
we could take that game, but hats off to Melonheads for putting their foot down and just keep on pushing and trucking along, not just being satisfied with one, but going out and get both and not having to worry about facing me in game three. So really
Yeah,
great
and I
series there.
I agree with you. And I think back to that trade that the Melonheads made towards the end of the year to get Caleb. It's kind of proved to be a good move. I wasn't exactly sure that they needed him. Not to say that I wouldn't take him any day on the
Yeah.
mound for my team, but it's like, man, they already had some good pitching, but Caleb coming in and shutting you guys down was impressive, and that just shows that you want the best out there anytime you can get them. And Caleb so far has been really good rookie, and he's been really good in the playoffs.
Yeah, he's been pretty damn good. And
Yeah,
you know, as a player, man, it sucks, especially these past
right.
couple weeks. Um,
Yes,
it sucks being eliminated and not playing, but at the same time, I'm pretty happy. Uh, throwing over this past weekend, arm is still hurting a little bit. Um, and now I just get to rest. I don't have to worry about anything else. I can just
that's
kind of
right.
rest my arm until next year. You guys will see me back better than ever next year, hopefully pitching even more. Now I got to
All
come
right,
out with, some more fire under the hat. And, now I got something else to prove. So, it was a
yep,
little, after winning two, you're not coasting, but sometimes it's a little different. There's you don't have that same motivation as you had, winning that
right.
first one or even the second one. Um, Still wanted to win, no doubt, but
Oh
and
yeah,
I think another thing too is coming off that national championship loss. I mean, normally I'm pretty mad when I lose. I mean that I don't think that's any secret to anybody.
nope, nope.
But man, losing in the playoffs, like after losing a national championship game, especially the way we did, uh,
Yeah,
nothing really hurt in that series. As bad as that is to say,
yeah,
I was still hurting over that loss, and it is what it is. But I put my commissioner hat on, uh, and it's actually really good. It's really good for the league. We're gonna
yeah,
get a new champion this year, which I think is a good thing. You never want to see just one team just rolling over. We've seen that in the league that we had before, and that was kind of a big reason why we uh, formed the league the way we did, was to keep that competitive balance and have new teams winning every year. So this is
absolutely. I can't
definitely a
agree
good
more.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what this league needs. You don't want to have someone get too dominant, and it's always a hedge against that because that's the natural draw of the way things go. Is if you get that dominant team, well, I have to form a dominant team to compete with your dominant team, and then it can become a death spiral for a league if you're not careful. But luckily, Mo Wiff has so far balanced that out, and we got a lot of good talent scattered out. And so I still feel any given day, any team can win in Mo Wiff. So
Yeah, absolutely. And we said it going into this playoffs that this is definitely going to be our our most talented playoffs that we've had so far, and it's just because top to bottom teams are good, and it's not necessarily that teams are stacking their teams, but I mean really just everyone has gotten better in this league, and it's
hmm
showing. There's no weak points. Whether it's Jimmy Stout hitting a big hit off me, or Caleb or rookie pitching
yeah,
the way he's been doing, or we've seen Jason have the big hits, and Spencer's been there many
yeah,
times in his career. It's every single person. Sam Eichenlaub's coming through in big ways. He
yeah,
was he had 2 home runs in that second game. That was huge. So it's
sure
really
did.
anyone can do it at any moment. And my cat is sitting on me. That's wonderful. um, but yeah, it's just good to see. Uh, let's switch up. Let's talk about your
All
first
right.
round series. You guys had the Mambas and a big series that went 3 games. What was your initial takeaway from your guys' series with the Mambas?
Well, now that we've beat them, I can say that we kind of wanted the Mambas. We felt that we matched up better for them. We knew I wasn't going to be there, but Jordan pitching against O'Rear, Dutton, and your bro and Cole, your brother. We knew that was a better prospect than facing you and Hall in the short term.
Yeah,
But we felt that given the scenario, we'd rather face a little bit better team in hitting than the bad pitching or than good pitching. For that we
It
didn't want
makes
to face good
sense.
pitching. That's what I'm trying to say. So, you know, we ended up getting that done. But yeah, Jordan came out right off the first game and hit a bomb. I got an update on my phone again. I was pretty excited. I'm actually standing in line at a ride at Universal Studios, going like getting
Yeah,
pumped, and
I
no
love
one
it.
knows what's going on, but I do, and I'm excited. And then, Jordan gets the job done, finishes it. I think we won 3-2. So
Yep, 3-2.
he got a little closer at the end, but happy, couldn't have been happier. And then of course game two, I knew we kind of had an uphill battle. We lost Bailey to he had his job that he had to go back to, so we had to throw in Stagio, which we made a trade for right at the end. And he's gotten a lot better. I'll give him that, but still wasn't quite enough to beat Mamas in the second game. And I knew if we can get back to that third game and I could show up, I knew I could give our team a chance to win, and that's pretty much what happened. So
Yeah. Let's stick with that first game just for just a second. I mean, I
yeah.
want to give a shout out to James Dutton, who
Oh
probably hit
yeah,
the
absolutely.
farthest ball I've ever seen
Oh, that
at our
was a
stadium.
bomb. Yeah,
Wow. I mean, just
yeah,
a moonshot and off Jordan. Yeah, that's
yeah,
special. Not a lot of people can say they've done that.
absolutely. Yeah,
And
he
man,
crushed it.
that was an absolute bomb.
He
And
crushed it.
I want to ask you because I feel like this might be the story. I talked to Cole a lot about this before. I talked to him during. I talked to him after. Um, they knew they were not going to have Dutton in
Right,
game three.
right.
Do you think he still should have started Dutton in game one? Because that was the key.
Yeah.
So my
Ooh, I
the
don't know. That's a
reasoning
good
that
question. I didn't
the
know they had that much forethought on it, foresight into the situation. Yeah, maybe. I don't know then, huh?
yeah. So and the reason
Yeah,
why I ask is I think maybe if Dutton does pitch in game one, does Jordan get that 3-run home? We don't know. Ryan O'Rear
we don't
pitched
know.
a absolute hell of a game. So you can't necessarily say he did anything wrong. I mean, the best hitter in the league this year
Correct,
just got one off of him.
correct.
But I mean,
I
you knew you were going to have the advantage in game two with O'Rear or Cole pitching against Saggio, and then it was
right,
do what do you want to do in game three if it goes there? I think that's what they were kind of worried about is if
right.
Dutton did lose game one, then who can go game three?
Three. Yeah,
It could have been tough. So it's definitely a tough decision either way. But I mean, I was talking to him. I was like, throwing Dutton might be your best chance to be. I mean, Dutton has just pitched so well all year
he's
long.
pitched so well. Yeah,
It was almost like I almost want you to like take the chance to see if you got to throw your best foot out there to beat Jordan, and Jordan didn't miss, and who knows,
no.
he could have done the same thing to Dutton, but you just never know.
Here, here's why I think they played it correctly, because O'Rear came out in game three and pitched the best game O'Rear's pitched all year, in my opinion.
Absolutely, and he pitched
He
really good in game
total
one.
dominant. He
Absolutely,
lost on 1 mile per hour
that's so
because
true.
he threw me a
Uh,
knuckleball and I whiffed, but it was 1 mile hour over, and I end up
yeah,
drawing the walk that gets the go ahead run. I mean, if that ball's 54 miles an hour, who knows what happens? But he absolutely pitched a gem that game. So
I totally forgot
hats off
about
to
that.
him. Yeah,
That actually
hats off to
that
him.
was a strikeout, and yeah, 1 mile per hour.
That was a
That
walk.
makes it tough.
It was a walk.
That yeah, I mean it makes it tough. I mean
Yeah,
yeah,
I
that
couldn't believe
is
it. Couldn't believe it.
yeah. I mean yeah, Ryan O'Rear definitely showed up in that big moment, and props
Oh
to
yeah,
him. Yeah, it's not that they made a wrong decision. It was just what did you want to do? But
that's
yeah,
right,
I mean Ryan definitely gave him a chance in both games. Um, Unfortunately, Jordan is just being Jordan this year.
man.
Did it with the bat in game one, and then on the mound in game three. So can't really fault him for that. It's just Jordan being Jordan right now.
Yep, he's doing his thing.
All right, let's jump into our next series. So you guys moved on and you played against you played one game.
One game.
You played
Yeah,
one game
yep.
against the Mojo.
Mojo. Yep.
There's so many
It's all running
teams, and
together.
they're
I
all
know.
there's so many M teams. I can't. It's hard to keep them straight. Uh,
Yep.
so game one, you guys and the Mojo. let's talk about that game real quick. Jackson Crosley
Yeah,
on the mound. Jordan's got a pitch
yeah.
and back-to-back games now because you guys had game three. So you played game three and game one in one night. How is that for Jordan, and how are you guys feeling after getting that big win?
Yeah, I didn't care for the fact that Jordan had to turn around and play a big game essentially against the Mojo right after he just played a big game against the Mambas, but that's the way the league's set up. That's what we
Yeah.
have. At the end of the day, we got the Archers caught a break. We have Sam Skibby and Gus Skibby
Yep.
sitting on the national stage, and
On
hats off to
ESPN,
them.
baby.
What an awesome appearance that was. But hats off to the Archers that we were able to take advantage of a Sam and Gusless Mojo team, and we got that first game, uh, in the books because Jordan once again finds a way to tag Jackson Crosley, something that not a lot of people have done all
Yeah.
season, and puts our team ahead, and then goes on to pitch a heck of a game.
Now, and I'll ask, from a viewing point, it didn't look like Jackson kind of had the same kind of stuff that he had, all throughout the season.
Yeah,
Do you think it, from a hitter's perspective, was that kind of that feel too, as he wasn't throwing as hard?
100%. I knew Jackson really outdid himself at the NAA tournament.
He was our ace
I
that
think
weekend, man. He
if I
dominated. He threw a lot, so you can't even fault him or blame him for
yeah,
having a little bit of fatigue.
I mean, that was the word that came out of that tournament. I mean, Jackson pitched to failure. I mean, he gave it all
Yeah,
until his arm just couldn't go. And I mean, he did a heck of a job. Watching that guy throw a clean ball the way he does is unreal. But yeah, I think that his arm still probably has a little bit of recovering to do because he's a little bit slower in the miles per hour, but he still had good bite. He's still a tough pitcher. And
yeah, absolutely.
luckily,
I mean, I think it was only the one run, correct?
yeah.
The Jordan home run.
Uh,
Uh,
yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think Colin came in later. I don't think we got a run off of him, but
no, yeah, I knew
Jackson only
Colin
went
shut you
two
down.
innings.
Yeah,
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 uh, yeah. Colin actually pitched really, really well in that game too, coming in relief. And I think a big key for that is you're already down. It was a great move by Doug to pull Jackson there because now
hmm
Jackson can't start game two, but he is available if needed. And also, he's got some arm left for game three as well. So if he needs to start
right,
in game three, he can. Which
right,
we'll talk about game three here in a little, or game two and three here in a little bit. But
yeah.
a big win for the Archers to start off this series. Off the number one seed. It does hurt a little bit because Sam and Gus weren't there. But that Mojo team still a very good team and still put
Oh
together a
yeah,
very good game and could have easily clawed one out, but Jordan Smith doing
right,
Jordan Smith things
and
and gets that big game one for you guys. So
yeah, yeah. And there was a close game. I mean, just because they didn't have Gus or Sam, the Mojo definitely didn't lay over and die. There's no
yeah,
doubt about it. I mean, Quentin had a pretty good hit in that game,
he
and
did.
we were maybe inches away from Blake robbing that home run.
Oh
Blake
man,
Spencer. It wasn't
wow.
that it wasn't that far. He could have just had a little bit closer. He could have made a play on it. So it's wiffle ball is a game of inches as well, just like football. So anything can happen. Sometimes you catch a break. Sometimes the wind blows your ball back over into the field of play. That.
Been
So
there, done that. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Uh, let's talk about the Thunderbirds and the Mojo, one of the biggest and best rivalries over the last 2 years. Um,
yeah. The Melonheads actually, the Melonheads and the Thunderbirds. Once again, another M team. Yeah,
Yeah. And man, what
yeah,
a phenomenal series this has been so far. We got games one and two a couple weeks ago.
yeah.
Game one was Andrew Nichols versus Caleb Swigert. We were kind of concerned. Andrew kind of fell off. He was inside wiffle contention for the longest time of the year,
hmm
and then looked like he was kind of hurting a little bit in his arm, and kind of lost it, and started giving up a lot of runs, and it was kind of like,
hmm
oh, Melonheads could really, really catch a break here with this one and just kind of roll through this team, especially with the way Caleb has been pitching.
Yep.
But Andrew came out, dominated on the mound. I mean, absolutely dominated.
Yeah.
Uh, and Tony Cochran with, I mean, just one of the clutchest, biggest hits that they had. You know, the funny thing about that was Caleb was dominating this game. If you take out the two walks in that inning and the home run, every single other hitter was out in that game. So three guys
Right.
got on base and
Wow.
they all three scored in that one inning.
Wow.
Other than that, he was perfect in that game. Besides that one inning, but Tony got that hard riser. I mean he was throwing around 95 in that game,
Yeah.
and Tony just hit it a long way. Uh, it was very exciting to watch. Anytime you see home runs in the playoffs, it's exciting as a viewer, and especially when you're getting to announce the game. It just gives
Yep.
you a little bit of fun to talk about. It's not that I'm rooting for either team because I'm not. I really have no rooting interest
Right.
in any of these games. I just want fun, good games, and
Fun.
I want to see hitting, and
Yeah.
that's what we got. A big hit by Tony there.
Yeah, I mean, that's what this game's about. You got a guy throwing 95, and who can get him? And Tony's proven time and time again. I've known Tony for a long time. He can get you, and there he was. Tony rose up, and I mean, he was even ahead of that. I mean, he almost he almost pulled a
Yeah,
foul.
almost pulled a
So
foul.
it was a bomb. There's no doubt about it. He was pretty proud of it, and I was pretty happy for him that he was able to do that for his team. And again, you go back to Andrew. Andrew pitched a heck of a game. It was old. It was not old Andrew. It's early in the season Andrew, the
Yeah,
dominating pitcher that he was right from the beginning, and yeah, he got it done absolutely on the mound. Happy to see that, but it was a close one. I kind of compare this. You talk about the rivalry, and it is becoming a rivalry for sure. It's like two heavyweights just
yeah.
throwing just massive haymakers, and it's like who's going to knock them out? Who's going to knock who out?
Yeah,
That's what it
absolutely.
reminds me of.
And then you go to game two, and what a big game that was. Um, you got Spencer Bogat on the mound versus Tony Cochran, who started. And you know the Mountainheads have talked a lot of trash to Tony. They've kind of had his number this past year, in the playoff especially. But Tony's been, if you look at the stats, he's been pitching really, really well all season long.
Yep.
And
Yep.
unfortunately for Tony, the Melonheads got a little payback from game one.
Yep.
Um, Sam Eichenlaub, I mean, you talk about playoff Jimmy, playoff Sam Eichenlaub has really come out this year. Two home runs in that
Yeah.
first series, and then a big home run off of Tony in this game, and then Spencer shuts them down. This is just an absolute fantastic series so far, and you're seeing it. The big hits in this series. It's the home runs. It's not just
Yeah.
walks and getting on base. It's guys hitting the big shot.
Sam, I want to point this out too. Great game at the plate, but Sam actually chased a ball down that Andrew hit maybe in the first inning and kept it from being at least a triple, possibly a home run. And
Yeah,
that
and
that
on
could
in
totally
right
have
field.
changed the
Yep,
mentality of that game. The
absolutely. Yeah.
momentum. Yeah, it was a great play by Sam. Kind of went unnoticed, but it was awesome.
Yeah, he's definitely been a guy that has been a glue guy for this Melonheads team. Hasn't really, we haven't seen him on the mound as much as we thought. Obviously with the way that
Yeah.
Jason and Spencer pitched so far, like all year, and then bringing in Caleb. Um, but he's really shined in the moments that he's got in, and that's good to
Hmm.
see. It's not just one or two guys on a team. It's what they did last year. They're doing it from top to bottom of their roster. They're not relying on one guy. It's anybody in that
Right.
lineup can really make you pay. And
Yeah.
and he's just being that guy right now, especially in game two. Game two of a playoff series. Don't throw to Sam Eichenlaub because he's got
Man.
a homer in every single one of them. Uh,
Yes.
but yeah, another really fun game. That's gonna make a great game three. And I think that's a perfect transition unless you got anything.
No, I mean, I'm just excited. I'm definitely getting there for that game three. I don't want to miss that. If you're looking for exciting wiffle ball, a lot of trash talk, I think game three is where you want to be
Yeah.
tomorrow.
And
No
let's
doubt about it.
let's switch up. Let's go right to it. We're gonna talk about tonight, the final semifinal games. Here we go. All right. So let's stick on with that one because that is going to be the first game of the night. It is game three, Thunderbirds, Melonheads, and you got to assume it's going to be a rematch from game one. It's going to be Caleb Schweiger. It's going to be Andrew Nichols in an absolute
Yep.
dogfight of a game, and I hope it is. I hope it's every bit as
Yes.
exciting as these first two games have been. Rory, what would be your key to success for each of these teams?
Man, you got to repeat the magic if you're the Thunderbirds. You got to find a way to catch up to a 95-mile-an-hour riser or slider. Caleb, if he comes out and dominates once again, you're gonna need that magic. You're gonna need that guy that can catch up to that. Tony, Andrew, they can do it. Jay Rich can do it. Even John Willenbrink's proven that he can hit some fast pitching. So anything's possible there. But the overall key to that game is no doubt is Andrew. It's
Yep,
it's it's all
absolutely.
it's all on his shoulders. It's how does he come out and perform, and does he get that big hit when his team needs it?
Absolutely. I've seen too in one of our uh playoff flashbacks that's been posted on Twitter uh from a couple of years ago. It was at I think it was like 15 innings or something.
Oh yeah,
That was the game Andrew Nichols pitched against Josh Rogers, and
right,
a lot of extra inning bases loaded game or innings there for Andrew Nichols. If he can repeat that performance or somewhat close to it, I think that's the key for them. Uh, because you might have to against Caleb,
yeah,
and especially in
yeah,
extra innings, you got to match him to like pitch for pitch, and if he can do that and he can shut down that tough Melonheads team, then that's huge, and that's going to get them a long way. And on the opposite side, I'm going to say the key for the Melonheads is going to be Jason and Spencer at the plate. You haven't seen much of them, uh,
right.
really at all. I mean, they've been good this year, especially in the later half, but definitely not what they were last year, and what we know they're capable of. But all it takes is one swing. You get one swing here in the
Yep.
playoffs, and it can change everything. They're the two guys. They're kind of the leaders of this team. I think, if one of them two can step up, really guide this team and help and get in a big way, I think that's the key for them. But obviously, we've said it before. It's playoff Jimmy. It's playoff Sam. It's these guys that rely on them. They just need that one key hit from anybody, and they can really do
Yeah.
it. But it starts with those two guys at the top.
Yeah, definitely. And the Melonheads lineup's scary. You look down
It
that
is.
lineup and it's like, man, I don't
There's
want to
no
face
easy
any of them
outs.
guys.
Yeah,
No,
no
not
easy
at
outs.
all.
But you can say the same thing on the other side. No easy outs for the Thunderbirds. I mean, all those guys can really hit. You're seeing everybody swing the bat well. It's going to be interesting. That is going to be a very, very good game, and it's going to come down to the wire. It's going to be who makes the mistake, if there is a mistake, or who can
Right.
just capitalize and really shock all of us. Because I think we were all shocked in the first two games, and
Oh yeah.
it's going to be exciting for sure.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's switch over to your series. We got game
All right.
two at 7 o'clock, or whenever that first game ends, if it if it doesn't go
Yeah,
30 innings.
exactly.
Uh,
Right.
game two, Archers have a 1-0 lead over the Mojo. Rory, how are you feeling going into game two? Probably gonna have Tony Saggio on the mound, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a correct assumption. It look, we're not comfortable. Don't get that twisted. We are not comfortable. We're happy being up one in the game, but we know what's coming. We know what this series entails. So yeah, we'd love to come out and make it a real quick series, get that second win real fast, and that's what we intend to do. But we're not resting. We're not sitting back. We're ready. We're gonna come out firing tomorrow. I think you're gonna be surprised how game two goes versus what people think it's gonna be. So that's my my overall take on that.
Yeah, you never want to just coast and just think you have a 1 game lead that you're gonna win the series, because we all know, especially with this Mojo team, they are the team that can do it. They
Yep.
have the lineup, they have Sam back. I'm not sure on if Gus will be there or not. I really haven't asked, so I don't really know.
I don't know
Uh
either.
I'm pretty sure I did hear him say he's going to be there. I remember us talking about it now,
I
and they're not
anticipate
sure.
he will be there.
So, and really,
Yeah.
you don't even know who's going to throw game two. You don't know who's going to throw game
No.
three. Everyone's kind of available for both games. The only thing is that Jackson can't start game two. So that's the only thing. You
Right.
know, Jackson's not starting game two. He can pitch in that game, uh, but everyone's kind of available there, even Brett. So, and Colin. So everyone can really get out there, and it'll be interesting to see if they maybe even switch up and save everybody for game three as well if they get a lead.
If Jordan wore Ethan Bailey's jersey, do you think anybody would care if we just put him out there for game
If he
two?
throws left-handed, sure.
If he throws left-handed, and yeah, yeah,
That was pretty good. I like that.
we'll
Uh,
try it. Maybe we'll see what happens.
yeah, but definitely fun, a fun series this is going to be because we've seen all year long that this Melonhead or this sorry, it's all these M teams.
I hear you.
This Mojo team, they can turn on that switch, especially with Sam. Especially if he gets locked in at the plate.
Yeah,
Um, it's a dangerous hitting team, and if that comes down to a game three, which it has a lot of potential to do, you would definitely say that it's favored in the Mojo's direction right now. That they are the one seed. They do have the better pitching matchup right now, especially in a do or die game.
yeah,
Uh, but if this does go to a game three, it's going to be very, very exciting, and it could be a lot of fireworks. And we're going to have to see another big game performance from Jordan Smith if you guys want to make it to the championship. Jordan hasn't been there yet. The Mojo have been there. Sam Skibby took this Mojo team to the championship in year one. Can he do it again? It's going to
correct.
be an exciting series. So
Yeah, I mean the Archers we know we go as Jordan goes. There's no secret. We get jumped on his back. My thing is Jordan. We've been here before. Me and Jordan did this last year. We were down to one game against you guys just to get in there, and Jordan didn't get beat. He beat himself, and that's how football goes sometimes. And I know he's not going to let that happen again. So I'm pretty excited to say that game three, I feel the odds are in our favor. But
yeah.
I'm biased, so
You
I'm
have
fine
the
with
you
that.
have the best player in the league, so
Yeah,
I don't think there's any doubt or any question in that so far this year. And yeah, that definitely gives you an advantage. And I said at the beginning of the year, I said if you guys get into playoffs, which you are, then you guys
you've
are
called
deadly
it.
because Jordan can change every single game because of himself on the mound. And it's not
Yep,
only himself on the mound, it's him at the plate as well. It's a
yep,
full game aspect for Jordan Smith. So
yeah,
if you're the Mojo, you gotta almost say, hey, somebody else has got to beat us. It can't be Jordan,
right.
and you gotta make somebody do it. And the problem with that is what you saw in game one of your first series was, you know, you walk two guys in front of Jordan. You got nowhere to put him. You can't give up that
Yep,
run, and then you give up a 3-run homer. So if they can limit that, that's key. But
yes,
easier said than done, and it's going to be interesting for sure.
yep. Looking forward to it, man. It's gonna be a fun night of wiffle.
Absolutely. Can't wait. Make sure you guys tune in tonight. Well, I guess you can come to the field and watch. Can't really tune in.
Yeah, come on
If
out.
not, tune in on Friday night. We'll have those games posted on our YouTube. If everything goes according to plan, which hopefully it does, but we've had
Let's
problems
hope.
in the past. So definitely keep an eye out for those games and see who makes it to the championship. It's gonna be a fun ride.
Oh
All right.
yeah.
Last up, we have the Midwest Classic. All right, Rory, what a weekend it was. The Midwest Classic. We had 12 teams in this tournament, a big
Oh yeah.
turnaround from year one, where we had 6 teams in our first tournament. So double the teams. First
Nice.
off, I want to ask you about how did you think overall? What was your overall thoughts on like how the tournament went this year?
Man, I thought the tournament went great. The tournament was well ran. You and Jason, I know, did a lot of work and did a good job. And the tournament moved along great.
I thought it did
It
too.
just, I mean, time wise, we were on it. I didn't see any downtime. There was no sitting around. Sometimes I've been to tournaments where you play 4 hours later. I thought the tournament moved along great. Fields were great
I
shape,
I think we had that
given all the
problem.
rain we had.
I think we had one team that had to wait a pretty long time in between their two
Oh,
pool play games and their the tournament game. But
oh, okay. Well,
overall it
overall,
was pretty good. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, like I said, the quality of the players, to
Yeah.
see the type of guys we had out there was pretty exciting.
Yeah, it was awesome. The amount of guys that we had, the amount of good players that we had come out, really wasn't any bad teams at all, which was awesome to see. I mean, we'll talk about it in a little bit, but really, the play on the field was phenomenal all the way around. A lot of just watching the games, I saw that a lot of guys were having fun, and
Yep.
that was my biggest takeaway. I love that. You want to see people coming, to your fields and just see that they're having a good time, and I really felt
Oh
that.
yeah.
I felt like the energy was there, so I was
No,
really really happy with that. I was very very worried at about like well, I think it was like I don't remember 4:30 in the morning or
yes.
something
Yeah.
the night before. Uh, wake up, it is just an absolute like hurricane outside.
Unreal.
The winds were howling. The rain was coming down. Jason sent me a text. I think it was like 4:26 or something. He sent me a text and I sent one back at 4:26. Like immediately we were both awake and we were both like, well, this sounds great outside. Um,
Gosh.
so I was really worried, and then my power goes out. I was out of power for like 3 or 4 hours. Um,
Wow.
yeah, so I was very concerned. And then to get a text from Jason saying, "Hey, grounds crew said the outfield looks good," was all we needed, which did suck
Yep.
because we did lose probably our best field. It was our number one field that where we kind of have our everything centraled out of. Going into the backstop. So like you're basically similar to UWIFs and that national championship game from the NCAA tournament. You're hitting towards the backstop at home plate. So we actually
Gotcha.
had the lines drawn, had the field set up, everything was ready to go. And we almost set up 4 fields, the day before, but man, it was hot. We were
Yeah.
beat. We were out there for a while. So we're like, what? We're just gonna hope it doesn't rain. And then of course it does. So had to get there early on Saturday morning to set up that third and final field, which actually went quicker than, setting up our other two. So it wasn't terrible, but
Yeah.
uh, overall though, I was glad that we got to play the grass. I mean, really didn't really seem too bad at all. Like it wasn't super
No.
wet out
No,
there.
it
So
wasn't bad.
especially middle of the day. And I mean, it got really hot. So the weather turned out to be a beautiful, perfect day. I got a little sunburn on my neck. Um, overall, I mean, yeah, the weather was perfect. But I was very,
Yeah.
very happy with how the tournament uh played out, and can't wait to start planning for next year already. So
Yeah. And all the hype for the tournament, I knew we had big stars coming in. It kind of brought me back to, I think it was 2005 Wiffle Up. I think it was kind of like the same situation in August, and it rained like that in the morning, and they canceled the tournament because the grass was wet, and the whole day was beautiful, just like
yeah, it
just
sucks.
like our Saturday. I mean, we literally just formed our own side
Yeah.
tournament essentially, but it was kind of a huge letdown because you have all these people wanting to play wiffle ball, and it's like it's a beautiful day. The grass is just wet, but it's how it goes sometimes. Can't control the
Yeah.
weather, unfortunately.
It does it did suck that the weather did cancel the baseball tournaments because I was really looking forward to hoping to get a lot of the kids out there,
Yes,
not only to see, the big star and Jordan Robles, but to
yeah,
see all of us and see what we can do and just to meet them and, hopefully gain, not necessarily I'm not just out here to gain the followers and the people to see our league, but it's to get the interest of these kids,
Yep.
into what we're doing and to see what we're doing. And who knows, maybe they have, an older brother or a couple older brothers, or they have some
Yep.
friends or, just whatever it is, and they get to see us. And then that brings more talent into our league, which
Yep.
ultimately we want to do. Uh, which I think it is the big key. I mean, that's really why we started this tournament. Well, I guess that's a lie. We started this tournament so you guys could qualify for
Fight
US
for
last year.
US. Yeah.
Um, and then, but a big factor in that too, especially
Yeah.
after seeing what happened last year, was a big draw for this tournament is, hey, if you live around the area, and this is a good way to prove yourself, to show that you can play in our league, and if you want to get drafted, this is kind of like the right step. This is the beginning step to getting in the league.
Yes.
Obviously we
Yeah.
have our spring training, but this is live games, so you really get to see how
Yeah.
guys can play. We saw Caleb and Colin here last year, and look what they're doing right now in our playoffs. uh,
Yeah.
a
I
couple,
mean,
just a couple of big names. Go ahead.
one would argue it was a life-changing tournament for
Absolutely.
Caleb.
Yeah.
He shows up, plays in the tournament. Next thing you know, he's playing on ESPN Plus.
No,
So
no kidding.
you
No
know,
kidding.
I mean, that's how it goes. And to that credit for me is you find one guy in that tournament who knows somebody,
Yeah.
and they could bring three people, four people to the league, and it just continues to grow the league, which is great. So
Yeah, exactly. So, not only the fact that, that's what we're doing, but we're also bringing in, some outside talent
oh
to
yeah,
play in this tournament. Not only in the big names, but, a couple of the guys from around the area and a couple different leagues as well. Um,
yeah,
I know you got a list. You want to read off
yeah,
those names
yeah.
for
I mean,
those
you
things.
had
Let's show them out.
yeah, you had Mo Wiff, obviously, which was represented. Oatville Wiffle, Yish, Lawa, which is my old league. I'd love to get my old league out there and kind of see what if we could still hang, which I think we proved that we did. We
Absolutely.
did okay. We had even some teams from Yellow Bats, and then we had those East Coast guys, and then Cooper Ruckle from down in Texas. So, I mean, we had some really awesome. An awesome, we casted a wide net of good wiffle ball from around the area plus the nation. So
Yeah, I mean, kind of all over the place around the United States, which is pretty cool. I was talking to Jordan Robles and Vin Lee while they were there. While you know, uh, I think it was before we were even playing, and or maybe it was just in the middle of the day. I don't remember, but
yeah,
he was just like, uh, who would have ever thought I'd be in Missouri playing wiffle ball, and here we are. And
yep,
he just had a lot of really good things to say about about the tournament and how it was kind of set up and running, and what it kind of reminded him of. And I was like, man, that's a really good feeling for me and for us as a league, and building this tournament. And
yes,
hopefully we can just continue to build it, and hopefully we have even more teams next year as it continues to grow. And I think we will. I don't think we're gonna slow down with it. I think it's just something we
good,
continue to build. So hopefully we get some more Midwest teams in the area, like a little bit closer to us, with a
right.
little more planning, and maybe a new venue. Who knows? I know Jason and Game Time are leaving that park, so it could be an opportunity for us to venture, and maybe we have some things in mind, and we'll bring those out in the future once we kind of see where we're going. But
And I'd like to add to it. I think we could modify it just a little bit too. Maybe even try to go back to the 90-foot base, or 90 degrees field instead of that pinch down field. And also, I
I
love the
agree.
time of year, the August time. I mean, we just
August is
we just don't
perfect.
have a whole lot going on. It's Midwest summer, classics hot. It's a
Yeah.
good wiffle ball atmosphere. Good time to have a St. Louis wiffle ball tournament. So
Yeah, it really was perfect. You don't want to get into, too late into September and too late
right,
into or you don't want to go into October. I really thought the time of month was perfect for us. It set up really well. It gave us time to plan for it and prepare. So I really enjoyed it. It was pretty awesome. Sucked that it happened right in the middle of our playoffs, but that is what it is,
right,
and we made the adjustment, and I don't think it really
correct.
affected anything for our league.
Nah,
Just delayed everything for a week, which was fine. So,
right,
and that's what
right.
happens when you get no rainouts all year long.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Uh, let's talk about a little bit of the play that we had. Let's start with the pool play games. Everybody played two games. Uh,
Hmm.
and then there was seeded 1 through 12 and a single elimination bracket. So let's start in that pool play. Any moments for you that really stuck out
Yeah, I
or
mean,
stood out? I don't know why I said that.
our first game was a really good game um, against F Cancer, and the my one of my favorite moments in wiffle ball, career, I guess, would be in our second game of the day in field three or pool
Yep.
three, whatever we were. Uh, Darren Bone, he hits a
Yeah.
walk-off home run to win the game for the Boneheads. You're talking about a guy I watched on VHS tapes playing this
Yeah.
game. It's how I kind of came up. It's who I came to see. So even though I was on the bad end of that, to watch him hit a walk-off home run with his son Nick was something cool. Man, it's really something special to see.
It
Off Tony.
it really I don't think that that was on video, unfortunately.
Mm-mm.
I think that might have been like the only game or like
Yes.
one of like two of the only games that didn't get recorded over the
Yeah.
entire weekend. And it sucks that it was that one because
Sucks.
what a great moment. I happened to look over and like see it and it was awesome. And then the pictures that Alex Eggert got of him celebrating with the Boneheads.
Yeah.
With he's got
That's
Justin
awesome.
Hall who's screaming right there, and then
Yeah.
you see Nick coming up in the background, and Nick's just got a
Yeah.
huge smile, and Hitchcock's right there. That was a moment, and
Yes,
that
it
was
was.
special. It really was awesome. Definitely one of the highlights of the whole tournament. That was super super cool. I'm really glad that happened. Unfortunately to you guys, but
Yeah.
it was awesome. Especially in a game, it wasn't like it knocked you out or anything, but it was a
Right.
great, great moment. Um, so huge moment there. Anything else that was kind of big for you? Any moments that stuck out on, and maybe any other games?
I didn't really see a whole lot going on in the pool. There was seemed like a lot of people hitting bombs. I mean, there was balls
Yeah,
launching out of that field all morning long. I mean, from 8 a.m. or from 9 a.m. on, it was
yeah.
people hitting just bombs, man.
I'll say, and that was one of my favorite moments is especially the low lifes. If you didn't know them, you certainly heard them.
Oh, I heard.
But you heard them at
Yeah.
9 a.m. And anytime they hit a home run, which they hit quite a few, uh, whoever hit it turned around and they're getting a beer splashed in their face, and then they got the chain with the shoe on them because if you haven't seen their logo, it's them doing a shoey,
Ooh.
pouring a beer out into their shoe, which I don't even think
Ooh.
I got to see them do,
No.
unfortunately, but that is their trademark. So have that necklace, that big chain with a shoe on it was perfect. I thought it was a great touch.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
even Dad on well, we call him Dad. It's his name
Yeah.
on the back of his jersey.
Yep.
We haven't played them in years, and he
Okay.
he hit a bomb off me. Hats off to Dad, and you can see it in the video. Took my hat off, tipped it to him. Not many people can do that, or can say they did that,
Right.
and he did. He got one off of me, and I mean, and I swear it was just like Parker Bunch's home run. It never got over my head. It barely got over the wall. It almost hit Ethan
Man.
right in the face. So
Wow.
it was a line shot that almost started on the ground and just barely got up over the wall. So, hats off to them. But it was very very fun to watch. Uh, to get to play against them. Uh, we haven't in a while. I love the Bushwhackers, that Yish League. They brought their team out, and they're just a great bunch of guys, and really love just sharing the field with them. Even though I didn't get to play them, I just love being there with them. Uh, I mean, everyone, man. It was just awesome to see those games, and more so one that like besides the play on the field, it's just talking to the guys in between games and even during the games. Building good friendships and good relationships with everybody
Yep.
was really awesome, and that's one thing I loved the most. I mean, I was running around, at the beginning getting the field set up, but then we kind of had a good system where we had a guy kind of on each field who knew what he was doing, and I
Yep.
didn't have to just be there. I could actually interact with everybody, and I really, really love that I got to do that. So thank you to
Yeah.
everyone who helped out with, yeah, running stuff on the fields and with the videos and everything else. So it was awesome, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it worked out pretty well, man. It's those live streams change everything because I love going back.
Oh
I
yeah,
have no idea what happened in your games, but going back and watch your games, like, oh, I remember that or I heard that. It's kind of cool to have a little bit of a record of what's going on in the morning while you're playing your games. You
yeah,
go back and kind of see some of the action you missed.
and with that too, I know we did try to get record most of the games, and it's going to be a while because that's a lot of stuff to go through. And we got our playoff series coming up, which is going to take precedent. But eventually, I know I talked to Jason, and our plan is to get a some sort of highlight film. It might not be like
Oh yeah,
the our normal highlight video, but just a montage of clips from the tournament, big moments. We'll get that out, and that way it's a great viewing experience if you didn't get to watch all the games and you want to just see what's going on. So stay tuned for that. Could even be, put out after the championship series.
yeah,
I want to say that's probably the smarter move. We'll get, we'll get all that video, you know, gone through and sorted through, and once we have a little bit more time. But I definitely want to get
yeah.
that out there, and then we can use that for, a hype video for next year as well. So
That's exactly what I was thinking.
yeah,
Yep.
so that'd be awesome. Let's get into that single elimination bracket. Uh, we had the one seed that was so top four seeds got a bye. My team actually pulled out the one seed. Uh, the Mojo had the two seed, and I think the biggest shocker of the tournament in that first after the pool play games, the South City Sluggers were the three seed. I don't think a lot of people saw that coming. What about you?
Yeah, so I did see it coming because I was on the field with them.
Yeah,
These guys came to absolutely play. They were down. I'd have to go back, but I think they were down 5-0 in their first game. Battled back to win 10-9, I believe. It was a one-run
wow,
game. Hit a walk-off to win it. And then they got the Boneheads coming up who just come off a walk-off against us,
yeah,
and they ended up beating them. So 2-0, boom, here you are, third seed. Uh, those guys, I mean, I wouldn't say they drew an easy bracket by any means. They had us,
no,
they had the
no.
Boneheads, but man,
And
they just
Boneheads were
came
in
and
the
showed out.
championship last year.
Yeah, yeah, they showed out, and hats off to them. To round out your bracket there on the top four, somehow, some way, we ended up with the four seed, and only because we had the only positive run differential of all of the 1-1 teams.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
yeah, I mean, so those four teams all get a bye, four good teams. And yeah, definitely not necessarily a knock on the South City Sluggers to say that it was unexpected. It was just I don't think a lot of people saw it coming. I knew that they had wiffle ball experience, but I've never seen a lot of them play, so it was just kind of the unknown factor. Uh, but
yeah.
really cool to see that top four.
Well, here's the thing. I've played this game for a while, and if you show up to play with one polos, you either A, have no idea what you're doing, or B, you already know something nobody else does.
Yeah, there
And
you
those
go.
guys, they were in the latter category because, I mean, they were hitting the ball everywhere.
Yeah,
Played
that's
well.
good. And yeah, we knew Jake, and we knew
Yeah.
he could do some damage at the plate, and good to see, he brought a team that could really contend and really
Hmm.
just compete with everybody. That was what's awesome. Uh, let's go through these first round matchups, and we'll talk about them as we go and see kind of what you thought. Any surprises in our first matchup? We had Club No Cap versus the Misfits, and I think this was a surprise for me. Ryan
Yeah.
O'Rear led team on the mound. Obviously, they didn't have Dutton, who wasn't there because I believe he was sick, and then
Yeah.
uh the ghost of Jordan Smith. I thought he was gonna be there and he wasn't. I'm a little
Uh-huh.
disappointed. Uh,
I'm
but
not. I'm glad it's getting far away. Stay away.
yeah.
Get your arm
Uh,
rested up.
but I mean, to hit, I mean, at least to hit,
Yeah,
not
to hit, that would be
not
good.
gonna hurt
Yeah.
you
I
getting
didn't want to see
pitches
him
in.
pitching. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely didn't need to pitch, but he, could have used that. Anybody could use that bat. I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
we could have used him.
Hey,
Um,
yeah.
but No Cat takes that game 3-2. Is that a surprise to you at all? Because I don't think I saw it coming.
Yeah, I'm going to be the first to admit I don't know a whole lot about this game. I haven't got to even rewatch it, but I believe Tony Saggio pitched in that
Yep,
game.
he did. He
And yeah,
did.
I mean that's awesome, man. That's great. As I talked to him a little bit at the end, but yeah, I mean, I'm surprised. I mean, I'm surprised that Club No Cap got the win over Ryan O'Rear, who I know can do big things on the mound. So
Yeah,
it was
definitely.
surprising.
It was definitely a shock because they have a lot of veterans experience on that team,
Correct.
and some good hitters and good players. That No Cat team that Tom brought, they're not a slouch at all. I mean, that by any means, they were the higher seed. They were the 8 seed. The Misfits were the 9.
Hmm.
So if you look at it by that standpoint, it wasn't a shock. But just when you have Ryan O'Rear on the mound, you kind of
Yeah,
you're expecting to win. Uh,
absolutely.
a 3-2 game. That's a close score. So I mean, it wasn't like it was a blowout or anything. I do want to touch on that No Cap team real quick because we played against them in pool play. And they had a couple guys. They had two guys that were new to wiffle ball, never played before, very similar to Caleb and Colin last year.
Hmm.
And I'm sorry I did forget their names. I'm gonna have to look it up, and they're not gonna be ones I forget because they're most likely gonna be in the league at some point, if not next year. I know one of them lives in Colombia, but
Yeah,
they threw really well. Obviously
nice.
they couldn't throw for a long time, like a good amount of time, but
Hmm.
they definitely showed very, very good potential, not only on the mound but at the plate as well. It was a good team. Uh, so not necessarily surprised, but when you have two guys who've never played before, uh,
Yeah,
you're not necessarily expecting to go out there and beat Ryan O'Rear. So, but
yeah,
good on them for pulling that one
yeah.
out.
Got it done.
And then I would say a big upset in the next game, the 12 seed losing or sorry, beating the 5 seed, the low lives, the lowest seeded team beats the Boneheads 1-0. And I don't think anyone saw that. I don't know if they saw it coming.
No.
But they put it together, and I think they scored on a couple of walks. Uh, but Boneheads, they lost in the championship in this tournament last year. Get knocked out in the first round, not what you expected.
So I do have a firsthand account of this game because we pulled up the chairs, the
Oh,
beer,
that
and
was fun
beat
to
up.
watch.
Man, it was intense. And Justin Hall came out in the first inning and did give up that run, and you're thinking, hey, that's all right, no big deal.
Yeah,
And
one
then
run. Yeah,
everyone's dad,
yeah.
just absolutely delivered devastating curveballs that the Boneheads found no answers for the next 4 innings, three
He's
innings. No,
he's
four
not.
because they were in the bottom. Yeah,
Yeah, he's not
yeah.
necessarily known as a pitcher either. So
No.
very, very cool to see. That was a lot of fun watching you guys sitting around that team. Very, very loud atmosphere, which you love to
Yeah.
see. That's what football is all about, and that
Yep.
was fun. Uh, but love to see that. A 12 seed advancing. That goes to show you the talent that we had in this tournament, and that anyone could
Yeah.
really play with anybody.
Yep.
Um, and then we had an absolute long, I don't know what to even call this other game on field three, a 16-12 win, Mean Machine over the Oats. Uh, that
Wow.
game was very, very long. I don't know if it was just a lot of walks or what. Uh, I didn't really get to see too much of it, but what a high scoring game, 16-12. Um, I do want to give a shout out to Dalton Lung. I think it was in the pool play game. I happened to turn over at one point and see his first career tournament home run and
Yeah.
his second on the year. Man, that's awesome. Good to
Awesome.
see that Dalton is really
Yeah.
improving, just getting better and better. I love to see that. So
I think that was that game actually because that was on field three. I think I remember looking
yeah.
over to it as well. But
Yeah,
yeah,
because they were playing
congrats.
on field. They played on field one, so
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
that game.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
wow, look at that, Don Long stepping in a playoff game. Absolutely love to see it. Uh,
Yeah.
so Mean Machine move on, and then we had the 6 seed Bushwhackers versus F Cancer, the 11 seed. And not only did the 12 seed advance, but the 11 seed advanced. They went 3-0 off this veteran team and led
Hmm.
by, I think, one of the shockers of the tournament, 15-year-old James Klein, man.
Dude's unreal, man.
He was tossing early in pool play, wasn't throwing very hard, but then, hey,
Yeah,
all right, elimination games, I'm gonna show everybody what I got. And
yeah,
he goes out and blanks this team. They did have bases loaded in the last inning. I was right there for it at the end, and then he ended up shutting the door. I think getting 2 outs in a row or something similar. Uh,
yeah.
but a big upset there. 15 years old, and he was throwing 80 miles an hour. That's pretty dang good.
Yeah, listen, we started our game pool playoff against him, and my whole thing is I said, listen, this kid can throw. We're in trouble. We're in trouble if they're going to start him right off the bat. He's playing possum on us because he was saving it for that
He was.
tournament for that playoff game because he wasn't even getting into the 60s or 70s. But I look over in that playoff game, I go, oh, there he is.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's it. There he is. Yeah,
You know.
he's a good player, man. I mean, he's for 15, that kid is unreal.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be one of those guys that we look at in a couple of years, and he's going to be, a big name in this game. Once
Oh yeah.
once he really develops, and I mean, he's already got the talent, so it's going to be great. Um,
Hitting
they move
bombs too.
on.
He hit a bunch of bombs against
Yeah, he's got a good
teams.
swing. I
Yeah,
remember he's been playing this game since he was, up at my waist. He always used to,
gotcha,
be throwing bullpens when he was little, even, watching our games. So cool to see him
gotcha.
finally out there playing in a
Yeah.
tournament and playing in a big way. And that led them against the South City Sluggers in another great performance. They win that one 6-1. So another shocker there. We have an 11 seed moving into the final four. Uh, I mean that pretty dang impressive, led by the 15-year-old man. I mean that is not easy to do, and
No.
like you said, that team could hit, and to only give up 1 run against them and only 1 run in 2 games, pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean the team cancer had a game plan. I mean they come out. I seen their game plan off the bat. They didn't care necessarily where they fell into the bracket. It was just going to be we're gonna ride on his back when we get there, and it worked out pretty well for them. They went pretty far. I mean you don't have. That's the thing about the bracket we had set up. You don't necessarily have to throw any great pitching, or you
Yeah,
can say let's get it done and set and take a break, which is what we tried to do. And both worked out for both teams actually. So
yeah, absolutely. Uh, then we had the Mojo and the Meme Machine and a big blowout there. We knew the Meme Machine didn't have a lot of pitching. Jimmy had thrown a lot throughout the day. Really, kind of their only guy other than Jason. Jason not wanting to throw a bunch before
right.
needing to potentially pitch this coming week in playoffs if needed. So a big route there. 10-0 for the Mojo. They move on. And then we had you guys versus the Low Lifes and another lopsided score at 10
Yeah.
nothing. Any
Yeah.
big takeaways from that game or
Not really. We just kind of put the bats on our shoulders, and the lowlights by that time had found they had depleted all their pitching. We were dedicated to the cause of not letting Dad hook those curveballs in there. We established pretty early that he wasn't going to get by with that. So they brought in, I think, 3 other pitchers. I think they had the whole team pitched at some
yeah,
point. So
that doesn't
uh,
surprise me.
no, there was some nice comedic relief if you go back and watch that game. That the
Yeah.
phone was kind of cutting out because it was in the sun, but yeah, that game was a fun game. We ended up kind of setting the tone there
Yeah.
against them. So
Yeah. And then we had, my team, the boys, 13-0 over Club No Cap. They just ran out of pitching at that point. Tom got in there, did the
yeah,
best he could. We were just hot. And that set up
did you
the
throw that game or did Coop throw that game? Sorry.
Coop Coop threw most of it, and then I came in and shut the door so
Okay,
he could
we didn't know.
save him. Uh,
Gotcha.
but that led us into the final four, us versus you guys, and really one of my favorite games of the tournament. There was a lot of trash talking going on, but in a good way, a lot of fun,
Yeah,
good way, talking about, hey, welcome to the big leagues. and you heard it, uh,
Yeah.
first guy gets on, then I hit the bomb, and it's like, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
we're in the
So
big leagues.
that's the thing, man. I want to say this: that first game, the first inning of that game goes down as one of my favorites of all time. First innings.
Absolutely.
It's my old league. It's my crew versus the new Mo Wiff crew. Who I'm with, and you just couldn't script it a better beginning.
Yeah.
And to have the commission of my former league going up against the commission of the current league, Mo Wiff. And you quiet us down, man. We had a plan. We wanted to get in Cooper's head. He's a young kid. And it's like, hey, come at me. I fouled too often. I mean, I
Yeah.
wanted to hit a bomb so bad, but
Yeah.
if I'm thinking, if I get this head, establish he's not going to blow it past us, anything can happen. But you know what, man, Cam, hats off to you. You quieted the crowd,
Yeah.
the whole thing. So
Yeah.
nice home
Me,
run.
me and Coop, we love that energy. So that was a
Yeah,
lot of that
wrong
was
strategy.
and Cole does too. Cole loves it. He hit a bomb in that
Yes,
game too. That's
goal was
me.
hilarious.
That's classic me and Cole growing up.
Good.
In that kind of style, man. We love
Yeah,
that. So a great
yeah,
game, one of my favorites for sure. And then we had Mojo and the F Cancer team, 5-3. Mojo barely squeaked by. A couple of home
yeah.
runs off of Jordan Robles, and very exciting. Didn't get to see much of that game, but very exciting. A good run by that F Cancer team.
Oh
Hats
yeah,
off to them. But set up the finals, the boys versus the Mojo, number 1 seed versus the number 2 seed. I think everyone kind of saw that coming. That's what we wanted going in. Me and
yep,
Coop wanted Jordan and Vin. They beat us in the final four at UWIFs last year. Uh,
yep.
this game was pretty electric. A lot of
It
hard
was a good
throwers
game.
out there between Coop, who was throwing 95 plus, and Jordan. I'm not sure where he was sitting, but he was throwing pretty hard and just kind of had us all in shambles. Um, Mojo win this one 3-0. The big story, Quentin Meyer. And I'm so proud of Q, man. Uh,
Yeah,
to just
absolutely.
to take a screwball to a lefty like that, to pull it out, very, very impressive. It wasn't a cheap home run. He
Nope.
squared it up, got barrel on the ball, and it went. And 2-0 lead is huge when you have Robles on the mound. And then obviously Sam Skibby gets the home run, uh, to add the insurance run
Yep.
there to make it 3-0. But wow, what a surprising and great moment for Q.
Absolutely. You talk Quentin Meyer, someone who struggled their first year in Mo with. I'm not sure his batting average, but it wasn't up there. And
Yeah.
to be, I mean, let's say what it is. He was the coach's kid on a team to have that bomb. I mean, he even says it later on. I'm the coach's son, but to have that bomb, it's a memory you'll have forever. It was an awesome hit, squared it up, and it was something special, man. I was pretty happy for him.
Absolutely.
His
Yeah, it was
intensity is
awesome.
is unrivaled. He's a very intense dude, and and when as soon as he hit it, he celebrated great. His dad
The
watching
bat
Doug
flip
get
was
just
the bat flip was
uh
great.
I missed
Watching.
the backflip. There's a back. Oh, the
Oh
bat
my
flip. Oh,
God.
I thought you said he hit a backflip. Like,
Oh, no, the bat
yeah,
flip.
the bat flip was great. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then Doug, the proud dad moment for Doug there was
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
And seeing all the other guys running out there too. You see
Oh
Vin
yeah,
run across the screen. You see Jordan run out there. Like it was a really cool moment to look back on, and a big time moment for this tournament, and for Q, for the Mojo, for everything. Um,
yeah,
now Doug's got to make a decision. Does he
yeah.
start Q? I mean,
Man,
a big home run off one of the best pitchers in the country.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
nothing cheap. Uh, and
No,
then obviously Sam homer off of him too. It's gonna make everybody's hot. You are making contact with them. It's gonna be a tough series
yeah,
coming up tonight. But
yep,
hats off to the Mojo, man. What an awesome tournament. Thank
yep.
you to everyone who was involved, everyone who played, everyone who came and watched, their families. Man, I can't thank you guys enough. And it was so awesome for real. From start to beginning, or from start to end, beginning to end, whatever
Yeah, yeah.
I want to say there. Um, just really, really awesome. So thank you to everyone who had any part in it.
Yeah, it was an amazing time seeing everybody's families there with the kids and the even some babies, and that's what it's all about, man. It's like that's why I play this game is because it really is just a fun thing to do. It's a
Absolutely.
fun thing to be a part of.
That is what it's all about. And we can't wait until next year for the Midwest Classic 2. Uh, we'll have more information on that next year, but Roy, let's wrap this up. It's getting kind of late.
All
We're running
right.
low on time, and we're running out of time. Uh, you got to get this Zoom thing figured out. But um, yeah, everyone, make sure you're tuning into our playoffs, our semifinal matchups coming up. Uh, very exciting time here in Mo WIFF. We got big playoff games coming up in our championship very soon to be followed, which there will be a lot of information coming out on that soon, as well as our All-Star and Home Run Derby. We'll get into that more later. Rory, anything you want to say before we take off tonight?
No, man, I'm gonna get some good sleep and be ready to go tomorrow. It's a big day for I'm getting ready to go for today because by the time you're listening to this, it will be
Mm-hmm.
tonight. But
There you go.
yeah, I'm ready, man. This is what it's all about. So just can't wait to get on the field.
Absolutely. We look forward to it. And we will be back probably in the next week or so with a championship preview podcast. It'll be a little bit shorter, but we'll got to give you something to get ready for the championship series. Good luck to all the teams tonight. And we will see you guys next time. For Cam Smith and Roy Rank, we're out.